Hello and welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV and welcome back to the Tottenham Hour podcast. I'm your host Matt Hayes and I'm joined by Ben, David and Sim will be joining us very soon as we look back at the weekend's fixtures as Spurs smashed the mournful Magpies by 5-1 to move into the Premier League ahead of Arsenal, who, let's not forget, have the best defender in the league in Ben White, or so they've been telling us for the last couple of months. Look, we're going to go through, I think you're muted there, Ben, but I feel like you have a lot to say. I can't hear you guys. So just give me a sec.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you, Dave. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Hear me now.
Amateur hour. Sorry, guys out there. It's amateur hour.
You know what? I thought it was my headset that was wrong because I was trying to fix this before the stream came on, so I thought I was broken. But look, here we are. We're here. We've got there in the end, and there's a lot to get through. Of course, that brilliant performance from Tottenham at the weekend, and they're going to head to the game against Aston Villa at the weekend. But before we do get into that, guys, it feels like an absolute eternity since I've been here. David, how are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. I mean, look, we beat the Magpies. It completes the collection of birds that we've hunted this season. And Arsenal losing on Monday night was the biggest gift that any Spurs fan could have got. I mean, I actually really enjoyed watching it, to be honest with you. And we put pressure on the young, naive shoulders of the Arsenal squad. We asked them questions, and we got our answers.
We absolutely did. And look, I'll tell you, I never thought I'd be lying in my bed on my own on a Monday night singing Glad All Over, but that's exactly what I was doing after that Palace game. But look, again, before we dive into that, Ben, how are you getting on?
I am on top of the world. I mean, the weekend was brilliant. Going into that Newcastle game, I had a few reservations about that Newcastle game because I thought they would set up to frustrate us, which they did in the first half. Well, I'm sure we'll delve deeper into the game, but I thought it was going to be a much harder task than it was on the weekend. I thought we were brilliant. Obviously, a 5-1 win. Let's add Simeon. Obviously a 5-1 win, but that Arsenal game just topped everything off and it made it all okay. I mean, after that Newcastle game, you're thinking, there's still a lot of work to do, and now there still is a lot of work to do, but that game against that Arsenal game made everything just that a little bit more sweet over the weekend.
Oh, it certainly did. It was, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting Palace to win the game at all, but to go out and to do it like that was an absolute joy to behold. And there's a lot of pressure on Arsenal's shoulders now to try and hold on to that top four spot that has looked like it will be theirs for quite a while. Sim, a bit late to the party, but it's a party I'm sure you'll enjoy nonetheless. How are you getting on today? We lost him. Sim is speechless after that performance from Tottenham at the weekend, which, look, we'll dive straight into it. And David, there's only really one place to start, and that is with the goal scorers, with Ben Davies, Matt Doherty and Emerson Royale all getting on the score sheet in that victory. I put it out on Twitter. Only Tottenham could have our two best fullbacks injured in Sessegnon and Reguilon and still have three fullbacks on the score sheet. Something Gareth Southgate will be proud of. But what did you make of the input from those players at the weekend?
No, look, it's absolutely what we want. Look, we were known as Son and Kane FC, and look, towards the end of last season, teams were pressing us over the left-hand side of the pitch, completely just leaving us open on the right-hand side. But we now have goals coming from everyone all around the team. Matt Doherty's been on the score sheet. You've got Ben Davies. We also had Sessegnon on the score sheet in recent weeks. Reguilon, Romero. Sanchez has a couple of goals this season. Højbjerg has a couple of goals this season. Our front three have goals right across the front three. Emerson's been on the score sheet. So, I mean, we're starting to spread the goals out around the team. But I think partly that is mainly down to the tactics that Conte has employed. Because under Nuno, right, we were very deep in our own half. If we wanted to even try and create any chances, Son and Lucas were practically on the edge of our own box trying to run out with the ball at times, and we couldn't keep possession, and we were just lumping it long, not even in the general area of any players to even get a hold of it. And since Conte's come in, he's kind of changed everything up, and he's got loads of players bombing forward. As soon as we get the ball, every player just runs forward, making unselfish runs off the ball, putting himself into pockets of space at time to be able to pick it up. And that's why you're seeing all these different scores on the score sheet of late. You look at Matt Doherty, he's just constantly against Newcastle was down that left-hand side, especially in the second half, getting into the box, making overlapping runs. I mean, even Sonny's goal, if he missed that, Doherty was there to tap it in. You look at Emerson getting into the box. And what I actually loved about that goal, Matty, was it's straight off the training ground. When you have two players in the box, you usually work on it. And this is from like any Sunday league team, under fives or whatever. You get your players to split. One goes front, one goes back. So you're not making the same run. And you look at that, that's what we've done. And we got a reward off that. And I mean, look, Ben Davies' goal, that's a header any striker in world football would be proud of.
It really was. It's such a crazy turnaround from where we were obviously at the start of the season with Nuno, even last season towards the end of Jose Mourinho and under Ryan Mason's time. And I was thinking at the weekend, there's part of this squad that really feels like in 2014-15, we had players in there like Ryan Mason, we one of them, Nabil Bentaleb, another, even Nasser Chadli, where they're players that we were falling in love with and were playing really well, but you knew they weren't going to be part of that squad that would bring us to the next level. And I feel players like Davis, Doherty, and a few others in there, we love them now because they're playing really well, but we know if we want to make that next step, that we're going to have to get better than them. But the input that they're getting through at the moment is 5 wins and 6 now in the league with a fairly solid 11 is really good to see. Sim, I'll come to you on this one. The Jamie Carragher on Sky Sports gave man of the match to Harry Kane, but it was a fairly unanimous decision among Spurs fans on Twitter that it was Christian Romero who was the man of the match. I just have some stats here. He won 8 of his 10 ground duels. He 6 tackles. Even just watching the game, he's so calm in possession. He was picking out passes as if he was Kevin De Bruyne. How good is this defender?
He seems to be getting better week on week, doesn't he, Christian Romero? He's one of the most enjoyable centre-backs to watch play. How aggressive he is, how he gets tight to opposition defenders. He doesn't get scared by anything. You know, a cross comes in the box, 9 defenders out of 10 will clear that cross away and just do safety first. But he takes a touch inside the penalty box. You know, he's aware of everyone around him. He's aware of space. He always tries to find a teammate, and he's never ever scared of people approaching him, anyone backing into him. He always tries to go win the ball. He always has the composure when he does win the ball, not to just hit it anywhere, but to find a teammate to pass it out. And he's also not scared at all about leaving his post and joining the attack if need be. He is absolutely fearless, and I absolutely loving him to pieces. I don't think he quite has. We haven't quite seen a passing range. I mean, he's very good at passing the ball. He's got very good composure. I don't think we've quite seen the passing range of someone like Toby had yet. We haven't seen those long raking, accurate passes and getting assists and stuff like that, which Alderweireld used to do. But that will come with time. Remember, he's still very young. He's 23. He's still got a lot of learning to do. You know, Toby Alderweireld, I think, joined us at 26 or so. He's more established player when he came. So Romero is still very young. He's still, got the world ahead of him. But he is an exceptional defender at his very young age. He's still got a bit of roughing around the edges to improve, but I think we've got a serious talent on our hands. I think the way he's performing, I can't remember a performance he's put in since maybe that Passos game where you can say he really put in a bad performance. He's been like individually himself, he's been fantastic every time he's played, and you're going to get a few mistakes from him. Going to get a few things where you're like, oh, he was a bit rash there and things like that. But at the moment, the way he plays, you just got to take the negative with the positive, because the positive just far outweighs the negative. So, like people say, you know, he's not very good at corners and stuff like that, which is truth. He's got to improve at that. But what he is good at, like in open play, in general play, it makes us so hard to play against. When anything comes down that side, he's gobbling it up. He's completely sucking it in. It's like the ball is drawn to him almost. And it's like he's like a magnet towards the ball, and he keeps winning it every single time it goes near him. It's exceptional. It's exceptional so far. And I think he's only going to get better. I don't think half seen the best of him yet.
That is, to some extent, a scary thought about how much better he can get. You know, he's only 23 years of age, you know, still really adapting to the Premier League. It's only his 17th appearance in the competition. And I feel like we've always spoken about Tottenham in the last decade or so. When we lose our big players, we don't really replace them. And I feel like Romero as a replacement for Toby Alderweireld is probably the first real step we've made in terms of getting back to that level and to that kind of style of squad that was so very nearly successful for us. I think Bentancur in the middle of the park is I don't want to compare him to Dembele, because Dembele was a different beast, but kind of with the style of play that he has in there, I think we're starting to make steps towards that, which is really important. And Ben, with the absence of Oliver Skip in our midfield, which now looks like it could go on for even longer, for anyone who didn't see, Dan Kilpatrick said today that Skip felt a bit of discomfort after returning to outdoor training today. But I made the point earlier that it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not exactly a disaster for us going through the rest of the season, because as important as Skip has been throughout the entire year, and as much as we concede fewer goals, we get more points when he's on the pitch. The top 4 race when it gets to this part of the season is all about momentum, and it's all about what you can carry through your last few fixtures. And with Bentancur and Højbjerg in there, we've won 5 of our last 6 games. We played extremely well. We scored more goals than any team in the Premier League. We're putting goals past Leeds, Everton, Newcastle for fun. That midfield is at the moment perfectly balanced and perfectly suited to what we're trying to do.
Yeah, look, I completely agree with that, but you have to be cautious in terms of getting overexcited as well, because you look at Arsenal, right? Everything was going so well for them. They come up against this Palace side, they get completely outclassed, and they get 2 injuries. Tierney out for the rest of the season before the game. Thomas Partey out injured during the game, and he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. And if something similar happens to us and one of Bentancur or Højbjerg get injured a significant injury where they're going to miss games, we're gonna look ropey, and we're gonna have to rely on Harry Winks with Ollie Skip being out injured. So that's the kind of problems that we look at. So from now until the end of the season, any injuries in the midfield before Skip comes back can be really detrimental to us. But I completely agree with you in terms of the way the midfield is looking. It's looking settled. I mean, it's probably the most settled midfield we've had probably since Dembele and Wanyama, because after that, we've just had mix and matches in there. Højbjerg hasn't really had a proper partner since he's come there. And now finally he's got a proper partner. Everything that Højbjerg is doing is going unnoticed, and he's being that proper aggressor in the middle there, winning the ball back time and time again. He's getting forward. He's letting Bentancur strut his stuff as well. And Bentancur, I think he's been an absolute breath of fresh air since he's come into this team. I think one game against Man United where I wasn't really impressed with him, probably our poorest player on the pitch that day. But since then, he's been absolutely unbelievable, and I'm loving what he's bringing to the team.
He is what he brings to this team, I think, is, I've mentioned it on here before, it's just so important to everyone around him. It's that air of calmness that he just brings into that midfield. And you're seeing him, we have the ball with just 2 centre-backs covering behind him. There's 3 players pressing him. He'll just stand there and just spin, and he'll get out of it all. I feel like that calmness really kind of goes through the team. And Højbjerg, I think, is a player who was massively benefited from having him alongside him, because I think there was a lot of fans, I'll include myself in it, that was thinking maybe Højbjerg just had a really good season last year, and he's really struggling this season, but he's refound that form, he's refound that quality, and he's been crucial to us. Look, David, the most fun thing to talk about in this Tottenham team at the moment is the front 3. All of them absolutely incredible.
Give me a
one of my favourite ever Spurs chants, I'm not going to lie. But Son with a goal and assist, Kane with an assist, Kulusevski with an assist, but it was so much more than that. Kane in particular, that performance from him on Saturday or on Sunday was absolutely outrageous. But the 3 of them, kind of what we're saying with the defence, what we're saying in the midfield, it's that balance that they suit each other really well. That chemistry hasn't taken long to get in there. But with that front 3, I was talking to a Leeds fan the other day, and he said he thinks that front 3 is actually better than any front 3 Manchester City can put together. Which on the current form, it's kind of hard to disagree with that.
No, look, the front 3 we have is absolutely world class. Us Spurs fans have made no doubt about that. But Kulu coming in has obviously made it the proper 3 that we've always wanted it to be. Look, Bale came in, done a job on it last year. Lucas came in, done the best he could, but ultimately Kulusevski has been the key to making it a front 3, Matty. I'll just give you some stats from Kulusevski from the game versus Newcastle. Shot creating actions 7, goal creating actions 3, passes into penalty area 6, progressive carries 9, key passes completed 4. But not only that, it was his involvement. You look, a lot of people are saying he's left-footed, which he is. Does he have a right foot? But look at the cross he played into Sonny. Absolutely quality. But then for Emerson's goal, the way he picked up the ball from the right-hand centre of the pitch, played it to Sonny, but then carried on going out towards the left-hand side of the pitch to do the 1-2 with Doherty for Doherty to get the cross in for Emerson. This guy is absolutely crucial to what we do. He likes to roam about. He can go outside. He can come inside. And he's just slotting in at home with Kane and Son. You go to Harry Kane. Look, the reason why he's the one that's tasked of dropping deeper out of the front 3 is because he has the best passing range out of the front 3. And again, Kane stats from the Newcastle game: shot creating actions 7, goal creating actions 2, switches of play 3, carries into final third 4, key passes completed 5. You know, so that's you're seeing similar stats from Kulu as with Kane. And Kane, I mean, what I love about the Sonny goal, right, is Kane is deeper on the pitch. Son makes an absolute beautiful run first, but he's actually offside. Kane has the awareness to know that. And we're talking about split-second decisions here. So what does he do? He plays Kulu in behind. And what I loved about that one was Kulu actually received the ball from Højbjerg, played it to Kane. And what shows that these guys have such trust in Harry Kane is as soon as Kane gets that ball, if you go back and look at the goal, Son makes a run in behind, Kulu passes it off, spins, and he's gone in behind. And that shows the trust that they have that Kane will find them. And that's why earlier on in the season, we didn't really... we weren't creating chances because no one was taking a chance going in behind because we couldn't get the ball in behind. But now that we have someone that do it, look at the amount of runners we're getting. As soon as Kane gets the ball, Doherty will go in behind. That's how Doherty's goal came. You know, it's absolutely unbelievable. But that split-second decision for Kane to play Kulu in, which then meant once he played Kulu down the wing, Son was then back on side, and it was just a simple cross into the box for him to score. Kane was absolutely unbelievable against Newcastle. I know a lot of people are maybe they don't believe that Sky Sports should have given the man a match, but I do. Name me another world-class striker in world football ever. No, but honestly, name me a striker in world football that is willing to give up the goals for the greater good of the team and drop and be the chief creator. And what happens is as well, once Kane drops deep, he was dropping deep under Nuno. But what was our problem? No one was filling the void that he left. Conte has now instructed Son to make sort of runs just from the left centre inwards in to fill that void. And that's why you're seeing Son getting the benefits of it lately. But them runs also have to be timed to perfection. So fair play to Sonny. And then Son's stats from the game. Shot creating actions 6, goal creating actions 2, carries into the penalty area 5, touches in attacking penalty in the penalty box 8, key passes completed 5. He's been absolutely unbelievable. Look, there's been a lot of criticism of him lately, but even through that criticism, he was still scoring and assisting goals. And now he's just unstoppable right now in front of goal. He's ice cold. The runs he's continuously keeps making is absolutely unbelievable. And our front three, I do think it's one of the best, if not the best, in the Premier League. And I can't wait to see what it does next season.
On Harry Kane, though. On Harry Kane, I mean, he's like created this new role that I've never seen any player play before. Like, he starts off as a number 9, then he drifts to number 10, drifts to number 8. I mean, what is he? What position does he play? Because it's like 8, 9, and 10. I mean, he's like sort of like a false number 10 or something. I don't even know what you want to call it. Like, what role is this? What other player has ever created a role like this before?
Do you know what? It could end up being like Joe, like the Makelele role that people have spoken about for so long, and this could become the kind of Kane role. And Wayne Rooney was on Monday Night Football and he was talking about it. You know, there are strikers who've done this before, and I think Wayne Rooney and Francesco Totti are probably the best examples of it. I mean, to start with, to be in a category with those players is massive praise towards Harry Kane. But the point that Wayne Rooney made was that for him and Totti, they did that because they didn't have the legs to do anything else. You know, they didn't have the legs to be that man sprinting forward all the time. But Kane is only 29 years of age. That's not the case here. It's simply because of his incredible footballing awareness, his vision, his passing range, his unselfishness, his ability. It's everything other than what you would expect to lead a player to do this, if that makes sense. And it's honestly beautiful to watch. Before we continue,
and also thing on Kane, go on read the super chat.
No, go on if you want to finish that first before I move on.
Yeah, I was going to say on Kane as well, like, if you look at like Ronaldo, you saw how he went from like a winger to like, he then became a striker and then just became a goal poacher when his when his body couldn't handle it. Like, Kane has still got, like, I'm sure when Kane gets like 34, 35, obviously he's not going to have the legs to do everything like he's able to do now, but he's going to be like an elite goal poacher as well. And he's going to, even when he gets to that stage of career, he's still going to have loads of goals in him, because I believe when he gets to the stage where he's just able to just hang around the penalty area and be that goal poacher like Ronaldo is, he's still going to have plenty of goals left in him, even at that stage. And we're so far from that still. So I'm so excited about the evolution of him.
And let's just quickly put this into perspective. Sorry, Matty. I know, but I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's my subject. It's subject,
I won't stop you
Let's
talking
just
about
put
Kane.
this into context, though. This is a guy that is chasing Jimmy Greaves' club record. This is a guy that's chasing Alan Shearer's Premier League record, and he is sacrificing goals. He is giving up goals to drop deep and be the chief creator. That is so unselfish. There's been countless of times where, like, you know, you've heard stories from Zlatan Ibrahimovic and players like that would never, ever give that up. It's just like, get me the ball. It's up to everyone else to get me the ball. But Kane, for the greater good of this team and to be able to get us to Champions League football and really kick on, he is sacrificing the goals to drop and be the chief creator. You've got to give the guy absolute credit for that, especially with the records he's chasing. He could be very selfish if he wanted to be.
He could, but look, he's just, when you're the best in the world, this is what you do, you know. A few super chats here. We've got George Georgiou, has been a member for 4 months, says, good afternoon, legends. Come on, you Spurs. Great stream. Thanks for tuning in, George. On behalf of the lads, thanks for the membership. We got Avi Troops as well, says, question for all of you. If we appointed Conte from the start of the season, would top 4 be done by now? Would it be ours? And we need David and Terence Stream to destroy all the Arsenal fans. Well, I won't act as David's agent today, but I will put it to you, lads. If we'd contact at the start of the season, would 4th be ours? Would this be a discussion we'd even be having now?
3rd would be ours right now.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, would be top 4. Would easily be top 4 if we had Conte at the start, because he would have had a pre-season. Probably would have been able to got a few different signings in the summer as well. I don't think the summer would have been exactly the same as it had been. And he would have got us playing at the level we are now so much quicker. So for sure, we would have had top 4. And even now, yeah, look, we're probably favourites for top 4 right now, which I'm sure we'll get into. But 100%.
I think it's scary to think the situation we were in when he took over, and we're here, 8 games to go until the end of the season, and mathematically, if we win all our games, we get top 4. And I don't think we are going to win all our games, but it's in our hands, and that's an incredible achievement by Conte and from the players who have turned the season around. We've got another super chat there from Raj, who says, Romero has helped give Dyer composure, Bentancur has helped give Højbjerg assurance, Kulu has given the front line creativity. Come on, you Spurs. And that's exactly it. And I, as a Spurs fan, cannot remember another time where we 3 signings impact our team in the way these 3 have. I know one in the summer, 2 in January, but it's kind of since the turn of the year, since Romero came back from his injury, that we've really seen that impact from him. And the 3 of those the 3 of them are the reason we're fighting for top 4. Without them, we're not. I know you could say that about a few different people in there, but they've been absolutely crucial for us. And one thing I think Kulu has
have an impact in this team before these 3 players was Højbjerg and Son, right? And Son was like, how many years has he been here now?
7 years now with Son.
You know what I mean?
And it even took him a year. Yeah. It's incredible work by Paratici.
Like with the players he mentions there, right? If you think back to even when we had injuries and we were struggling, Sanchez. As much as people like Sanchez, the guy is an absolute donkey on the ball. He's got 2 left feet. He's zero composure. A lot of the times he was playing us into pressure, putting us under pressure, and then when he was put under pressure, he was lumping it long. We had no hope in hell of getting out. You had Winks in midfield. Now, the big difference that Bentancur has brought instead of Harry Winks is his first pass is forward. Bentancur always looks to get the first pass forward. When Winks is on the ball and he's passing it sideways or backways, and I've loads of times this year I've counted where he's been on the ball and he slowed it down and let the opposition get back into shape. And by your first pass always being backwards and sideways, you're constantly allowing the opposition to get back into their defensive shape, and you have more bodies to break down. But Bentancur's is forward, and Kane, Son, and Kulu also trust Bentancur because they can now stay a lot higher up the field. And Kulu coming in for Lucas. Look, as good as Lucas was and as hard as he worked, Kulu has the end product. He has the footballing brain. He has the vision to be able to create things. And with all 3 of these players coming in, I don't know about you guys, but I've gone back and looked at possession stats from earlier on in the season and even a bit under contest time compared to lately. We are keeping the ball so much better. So much better. Before we couldn't do it with the likes of Winks, Sanchez, and Lucas. We just could not keep the ball. But now, the biggest thing, if you go looking at the possession stats, we're keeping possession, we're controlling the game, we're creating double the amount of chances, if not triple than the opposition's. And when you do that, you always have a chance to win the games and win them emphatically like we are, because we're keeping a lot more possession, we're in control of our own destiny, we're in control of the game, and we're creating a hell of a lot more chances. And that's why you're seeing the biggest improvement in this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the proof of the pudding is that, and to show how we're building from the back and how many goals we score from building from the back as well.
You couldn't do that with the players we had before.
That's the thing. When teams come at us now, it's like any team, like you saw against Man City, you see whenever we're ahead, even against teams like Newcastle, anytime a team leaves space for us, we're not just dealing with counterattacks now. We can build up from the back, we sucker them in, and then we know exactly where the runners are going, where to play the passes, and where the movement. It's like clockwork at the moment. Where we are coming unstuck is like the first half against Newcastle, where it's very compact. That we have to break them down. I still think in those situations we're dominant and we're doing well to contain teams. Like, we're not giving away too many chances. I know Newcastle had a few bits and pieces, but by and large we had them under control. But we still got to work on breaking teams down when they are settled. They're not giving us space. They're not taking the game to us and pressing us. They're inviting us onto them. They're inviting us onto them. We have to work on that, and we still haven't quite perfected it. I do still think that's a quality issue, because I think we don't quite, like, when teams have their defenses settled, we don't quite have the quality to kind of break them down, in terms of we don't have like an Ericsson who's going to put real good quality into the box. We're still relying on kind of like Doherty and Reguilon in the wide areas to provide that quality, and as well they're doing right now. They're doing well when they've got space. When they don't have space, we're still yet to see that quality from them. That's definitely something to work on. But sometimes when these teams are settled and they're playing deep, you just need either that one bit of quality or that bit of luck to open the door. And as soon as we get ahead, then we become this team that no one wants to play against, because we know exactly what we're doing when you leave space for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is a terrifying thought. The idea of playing us on the counter-attack is more worrying than playing any team in the league, because everything is done with such precise perfection, whether there's a pass from Kane or a through ball by Kulusevski. And we've obviously been talking about the creativity Kulusevski has offered to this team, but he's also offered competition in that position on the right-hand side. And Steven Bergwijn and Lucas Moura both came off the bench at the weekend, and both were involved in that fifth goal. Of course, Lucas assisting Bergwijn. And for that entire second half, we'd 4 shots on target and, of course, 4 goals. In the entire game, we'd 6 on target with 5 goals. And that, being clinical, is something that we've lacked for so long. And we've had it in kind of bits in games here and there. Southampton and United last season springs to mind. But with the 4 or 5 now we've scored against Everton, Leeds and Newcastle, we are, when we get the chances, putting the ball in the back of the net. And that is absolutely crucial, because if we have 5-10 counterattacks every game, we only score 1 or 2. That's really not that great when we are leaking goals like we are at times at the back. And that is maybe one negative. I might come to you on this one, Ben. The goal we conceded on Sunday, a silly foul by Heung-min Son, and then one that Lloris every day of the week should probably be catching, not just saving, being able to hold on to what was a tame free kick by Fabian Schär. We're hearing rumours that Sam Johnston could be about to sign a pre-contract deal with Tottenham ahead of joining in the summer, I would assume, as a replacement on the bench for Pierluigi Gallini. But any concerns about the goal we conceded, or is it just one of those?
Look, I think every time Lloris makes a mistake, there's all this noise around Lloris about how we should replace him and this and that. But I back Lloris heavily. I think Lloris is a top class keeper. Every keeper makes mistakes. I mean, we've seen Alisson make mistakes this season. We've seen Edison make mistakes this season. Everyone's been harping on about Ramsdale. We've seen him making mistakes this season. So, look, every keeper makes mistakes. It's no secret that Hugo Lloris is at the twilight of his career, but I'm not worried about Hugo at all. I want to see him stay here for the next 2 years, and I want to see him, like he said in his interview when he signed the contract, is pick his replacement and pick his successor. Because I think he's deserved to do that. The guy, how long has he been here for now? 9 years, 10 years? And I think...
2012. So,
since 2012, so that's 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. So I absolutely love the guy. And I think that if you're going to look in the market this summer to buy someone, you're going to have to pay a lot of money to buy someone at his level or better. So I prefer to use that kind of money to improve the defense, to improve the wing backs. And, later down the line, then we can look at replacing Hugo. But to bring in Sam Johnston as a backup, I do think he's better than Gallini. I've been impressed when I've seen him play. And Jake Livermore told us he's ready-made for the Premier League. So bring him on.
Are we going to trust Jake Livermore? Look, I agree. I think Johnson is a very good goalkeeper who When he was in the Premier League, probably didn't look as good as he is because he was playing in a West Brom side that, obviously got relegated, but just didn't have enough really to protect him in that goal. And I hope it is one we get over the line. But as far as it goes with Hugo Lloris, I can't imagine Tottenham without him. I genuinely can't imagine what it's like to have a Spurs team without him between the sticks, because it's been, 9, 10, 11 years with him being the world-class keeper that he is. And it's a terrifying prospect having to replace him. But it's one that we're definitely going to have to be looking at a bit more in the next couple of years. Look, before we move on to previewing the game against Aston Villa at the weekend, we kind of have to touch on that pitiful performance from Arsenal on Monday night. One that could be huge.
We have to talk about that again, do we?
Arsenal get battered.
What a shame.
They go.
We could do a whole hour stream on that, Matt. Don't you worry.
Okay, well, we'll be back after. No, look, it's a massive result for us in the fight for top four. It's obviously not one that decides anything, or that if we get it at the end of the season, it's not going to be purely down to that one game. But it's come at a very, very important time for us. Arsenal in really good form, and the second we pipped them into that top four position for what felt like it was only going to be 24 hours, for them to then lose that game, for us to have this week in that four position, to be in the driving seat in terms of if we win all the games, we get it. It's massive in terms of the mentality, and as well with Conte saying for the first time really that we want this is our goal, and this is something we can achieve this season. David, how big was it for us for Arsenal to not just lose, but to really get absolutely battered on Monday night?
No, look, it went to plan, to be honest with you. I had a sneaky feeling that Patrick Vieira would want to do a number on Arsenal because, look, I reckon if Arsenal don't make top four, which I never thought they would anyway, and they do maybe fall down another couple of spots down the league, they have questions then. Do they stick with Arteta and trust the process, or do they bring in a Patrick Vieira who has turned Crystal Palace from a complete defensive team to a very good attacking team and with some little players in it? Do you bring him in? And for me, I think that's why he done a number on them. Look, they pressed them early in the first half, didn't let them settle into the game, and they got their rewards at the end of the day. And look, lack of threat up front lived up to his name. Absolutely buzzing. Thomas Partey coming off injured. Let's get the party poppers out and honour his name, have a party. And then you also have Kieran Tierney, who's out as well. So, I mean, some of their most crucial players coming out injured as well. I mean, it's just perfect timing. Perfect timing. And to be honest with you, Matty, that's what they get. That's what they get from running away. Like, if you really think about it, right, they were able to play us at our worst time. They ran away from Harry Winks in midfield. Now they have to come up against Bentancur and Højbjerg. They ran away from Harry Winks. They showed their number. They showed their cards. Like they showed the cards, They're scared. They don't want the fight. I can't wait to get them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In a way, I actually would like top four to be done and dusted, just so the Spurs fans can just not even really have to worry about the game. You can just abuse Arsenal supporters all game long, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd look forward to that. I think that will be a fun experience for us. Looking at the games that Arsenal have left for the rest of the season, I think it's going to be a big factor in really deciding who the favourite for this race is. And I'm not ashamed to admit I sent David a voice note after the game, and I apologise, to be honest, because he's been sitting here every single week since we started this talking about how Tottenham will get top four. His confidence and his faith hasn't wavered for a second, and I had to send a heartfelt apology for doubting him and for doubting this team.
Also said you had a good transfer window and people laughed at me. I rated it a 9 and people laughed at me.
That is true. And to be fair, I agreed with you on that one, but everyone apologise to David in the live chat, please. Arsenal's fixtures for the rest of the season.
We haven't made it yet, guys. We haven't made it yet.
We will.
Oh, where's the confidence, Ben? The fixtures here for Arsenal, they've got Brighton, Southampton, Chelsea, Arsenal, West Ham, Leeds, the mighty Tottenham Hotspur, Newcastle and Everton. A few maybe easy-looking fixtures in there. Looking at last day of the season, Everton may be playing for their survival when it comes to that. Sim, does that give you more hope that Tottenham can get this one over the line?
Yeah, massively, because the whole point of Arsenal was they were the consistent team. Tottenham were playing better, but Arsenal were consistent. Well, if you're consistent, you have to go to places like Palace and get the 3 points. And even if you're going to scrape it like they've been scraping other games, that was their whole point. But if they're going to lose 3-0 to Crystal Palace, then how and they're going to pick up big injuries to like Tierney and Partey, where we know that their squad is paper thin. How can you expect them to go away to Chelsea, away to West Ham, and away to Spurs and pick up the wins that they're suggesting they're going to pick up? And I think it's absolutely puts Tottenham in the driving seat. The fact that they've got these fixtures, and you look at our fixture list, it's much more winnable. I mean, looking at the positions now, I think with that one game, I think they've blown that advantage they did have. Because, as you say, before the game wasn't in our hands, and now it is, and I think that's very, very crucial. Are they really going to pick up form again with Tavares and El Neni or whoever Lokonga coming into their team? Are they going to keep up? Let's be real. With their best 11, their first team out, with everything going with them, with one game a week and everything like that, they were only just about scraping by games. 1-0 against Villa, 3-2 against Watford. They were just about getting over the line. Fair enough, they're being consistent, and they were getting over the line like on a regular basis, but they were only just. Now a few injuries are getting into their squad. Now with that absolute mauling by Crystal Palace, that will definitely have a negative effect on their mood. How can you expect them to go back to that consistency? It doesn't seem logical to expect that. So we'll see if they can get back to it. I'm sure, look, I'm not going to say they're losing every game from now to the end. I'm sure they'll beat Brighton on Saturday. I've got no doubt about that. But the real tough games, like West Ham away, Chelsea away, United at home, Spurs away, are they really going to win those games which they need to win? They need to get at least 2 wins in those games, you'd have to think. So, I don't know. I think they're in big trouble now. They're in big trouble. And in terms of how it is, like how in terms of the big picture, like obviously before the season, no one really had Arsenal in their top 4. But that's because that's not because Arsenal fans shouldn't expect that. It's just because most people looked at Arsenal, finished 8th 2 seasons in a row, even though they had big investment. You're not thinking that they were going to close the gap so much on someone like United, who had signed Sancho and Varane and Ronaldo. You're not thinking they're going to close the gap there. But everything's gone for Arsenal this season. No European football, 1 game a week, no injuries. United completely falling off. Tottenham having Nuno at the beginning of the season.
Biggest
It's
spenders
like
in the summer window.
Biggest spenders. Everything up until this point has, except for them losing their first 3 games, everything has gone for Arsenal this season. And if they still can't get top 4, like it's like when everyone said about Spurs, like when we had that Leicester season, oh, you have a really big opportunity to win the league. If you don't take it now, you'll never have another opportunity. And I remember Thomas saying, oh well, we're a young team, we'll have other opportunities. And I feel like it might be similar for Arsenal now. This might be a big opportunity to grab that 4th spot. And if they don't grab it, then it's going to be even tougher going forward to have another opportunity to grab it. And I think we're going to be much stronger next season. United with a new manager and whatever, we'll see what happens. They're going to be stronger. I think if Arsenal don't seize this opportunity that they have this season, they might live to regret it. And I think they might.
I'd love to see them in the Europa Conference League next season.
I would love to see that. But isn't it so nice to see? I mean, they've been piping up all season. I mean, I've heard some ridiculous statements from them, like Gabriel deserves to be in Team of the Year. I've heard Ben White is better than Romero. I've heard, what else have I heard? I heard Thomas Partey is one of the best centre mids in the league, and all this kind of stuff from them. And I kind of relate them to the frog I have in my garden. I've got this pond, and this frog has turned up in my garden. And every time I go out and see the frog now, it goes delves deep into the water. And that's what the Arsenal fans are like. Everywhere I look, they're nowhere to be seen anymore. They're literally nowhere to be seen. And every time I come out, it's like Tottenham coming out and Arsenal just going deep into their holes, because that's exactly what they're doing now. I don't know where they've gone. They were literally so loud a few weeks ago for the last few months, and I can't hear a peep from them anymore.
They've gone missing.
I think it was not even so much the it's not so much the defeat, which was bad, but I think the injuries might be the big thing that could really curtail their season. That's the thing that I love. Everyone's quoting this Paul Merson article. Oh, Tottenham are a one-man team under Harry Kane. Yet the next paragraph he writes, Arsenal really can't afford to lose Tierney. It's like, you're saying Arsenal one-man team for Tierney. I don't understand. They're left back. You're a one-man team for a left back. Are you serious? It's like do you not see the difference? He's calling Tottenham a one-man team. It's a bit ridiculous. But look, they're in big trouble now with these injuries, and the players they got coming in, they're nowhere near the quality that they had at the start. And also, I want to know you guys, Matt and David, have been. I put a tweet out comparing Saka and Kulusevski over. Kulusevski's been here since. Matt's rubbing his hands. He's ready. Kulusevski's been here since February. And he has the same amount of assists and only created one less big chance than Saka the whole season. And like, is there a conversation to be able that Kulusevski should be in that bracket in terms of these youngsters who are getting a lot of praise? You know, he's only 21. People forget that. Like, what do you think? Is he as good as Saka? Do you think?
I think they both have kind of very, very different qualities. I think Saka is a lot more raw. Like his ability, it's a lot more raw. Whereas Kulusevski is already a cultured player, and you can see what he's trying to do. You can see how he's been brought up in the game. And look, having played at Juventus for 2 or 3 years, you'd almost expect that from him. But I think with Kulusevski, that experience of playing in a team like that, the ability he's shown to come into the Premier League from what is a very different league in Italy, and to be able to adapt to that and already be such an important player for us, and to, you know, just seamlessly fit into a new league, to a new everything, is for me a lot more impressive than Saka, who is the focal point of that team. And when you're the focal point, you're going to be given the platform to show what you can do a lot more than someone like Kulusevski, who really is maybe third, fourth best player in our team, definitely third best in that front line, which I think says a lot about the ability we have up there. I said it myself on Twitter about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, that Kulusevski is better than Saka, and Arsenal fans were not too happy about that, which doesn't really surprise me. But I think Kulusevski is just one of those players who may go under the radar a little bit more, because he doesn't do anything fancy. He doesn't do anything with flair. He just does what needs to be done, and he puts the ball on a plate for Son or for Kane, or he'll find the back of the net in a game against Leeds like he did a few weeks ago. For me, Kulusevski is a better player. And I just want to say, as we continue this conversation, to the Arsenal fan who's screen recording this, because there's definitely one, hoping that they'll get top 4 at the end of the season, I just want to remind you that Arteta is a fraud. But David, what's your thoughts on Kulusevski and Saka?
I mean, Kulusevski is reaping the benefits of coming to a top club, isn't he, Matty, and the boys? You know, Tottenham Hotspur, one of the best teams in world football, if not the best team in world football. And look, obviously he's coming in. Obviously, he's coming in and he's fitting in beside Kane and Son, and that helps. I mean, look how clinical they are and stuff like that. But I mean, one was supposed to be a reject, and one was the hottest thing since sliced bread. Well, I mean, Kulusevski, he's not bad for a reject, is he? He's coming in, and I think next season he'll completely dwarf Saka shit's numbers, and I think we'll realise who the best player out of the two of them is, to be honest with you. Look, Saka's a good player. He is a good player, to be fair, but the only thing he has over Kulu is pace, but Kulu has a better brain, better passing, better finishing, and all around a better footballer. And the fact, like you said, Matty, that he's come in the January transfer window halfway through the season, and the way he slotted in and made himself at home, I mean, I know who I want in my team when I go into the trenches, and that's Kulusevski.
Yeah, let's be honest, Saka's just a glorified Andros Townsend, isn't he?
Back to your point, Matt, about Arteta being a fraud. If they don't get top 4 this season, there is not one manager in any of the top 6 clubs that would have been afforded patience of 8th, and then not top 4 the following season. Not one of those, not one club he would last at, and I'm certain he won't get sacked, even if they don't get top 4, because they all believe they're heading in the right direction. To be fair, they have improved. I'm not going to say they haven't. I'm just saying that if he's manager of City, United, Chelsea, Spurs, anyone else in that top 4 rate, in that top 6, he's not lasting. Only Arsenal, and I don't know what you take away from that, but that's the truth. He wouldn't last at Spurs with 8th, and not top 4. He wouldn't, like Pochettino got top 4 in his second season. Like only Arsenal would he be? Are they having the patience for that?
Yeah,
I love the song that the Arsenal fans are singing all game, every game at the moment. It's like, we got Super Mick Arteta, blah, blah, blah. Ends off with saying he's going to take Arsenal to the Champions League. I think they might got to change those lyrics, saying he's going to take Arsenal to the Conference League.
I mean, how can people call me deluded? And you have 50,000 fans singing Arteta's name. I mean, come on.
Well, you did just call Tottenham the best football team in the world, but look, yeah. I digress.
Not deluded at all, Matty. Not deluded at all.
Before we get on to the game against Villa, one thing I want to touch on, which, look, people are talking about Chelsea potentially being dragged back into a race for the top 4, but Christian Eriksen back with the Danish national team, scoring with them both games there, bagging a great goal against Chelsea as well, and being absolutely incredible and so influential in there, and that 4-1 victory for Brentford at Stamford Bridge. Does anyone want to sing a love song for Christian Eriksen?
Here's to you, Christian Eriksen. Tottenham loves you more than you will know.
Hey, I might already sung that.
It was Christian's before Matt's.
Look, I love it. He's an
Yeah,
absolute
look,
hero. He's
Ericsson's
doing us a
he's
favour.
great, isn't he? I mean, look, it was. I said to Ben, it was first halves. Like it was performances like the first half against Newcastle that convinced me that we could do with someone like Ericsson in our squad, because we need someone with that quality who's able to pick a lock, put in an amazing cross for someone like Kane or Son to be on the end of, someone who can dictate the play from deep and doesn't like means like Kane's just not passing to himself when he's in deep. You got someone passing to Kane. You know what I mean? So for sure, I don't think if Ericsson came, he'd be starting every game, but I think he'd be an invaluable weapon to have if he did join.
Yeah.
Do we think there's any chance of him ending up at Tottenham again? Because I've seen some reports, admittedly from the tabloids, that Manchester United and Tottenham are interested. And look, we know he's living in the same hotel as Conte, so maybe there's some conversations going on there. But Ben, I suppose, do you think there's any future for Eriksen at Tottenham, or has that boat sailed?
No, 100%. I mean, ever since I saw him in his first game back for Brentford, I was dying to bring him back, and he's just got better and better since then. Not just for Brentford, but for his country, Denmark, as well. I mean, he's performing at a really high level. Conte know him. Conte won the league with him at Inter, obviously. So I think there's big possibilities for him to come back. There's no player of his quality that you can bring in on a free. Well, there is, because there's a lot of players on a free transfer, but no one that is so willing to come to Tottenham. And so, part of the furniture at Tottenham he was for a time. Yeah, the fans got angry with him because he wasn't pulling his weight kind of in the latter stages. But I think he'll come here revitalized under a manager which he won the league for at Inter. I think there's big chances for him to come back. I really do.
Yeah, and just quickly, look, I haven't wanted him back for most of the season, to be honest with you. It's just kind of like, it's because the way he left Tottenham. But sometimes you just got to put your differences aside and your feelings aside and realize what's best for the team. And having an option like him in there will certainly help this team.
Yeah, it would be incredible to see him back in a Spurs jersey. And as much as I accepted that it was time to go when he did leave a couple of years ago, I'm still going to love to see him back in the Spurs jersey if it does happen. So let's keep an eye out for that one. But look, next up for Tottenham, it is Aston Villa at Villa Park on Saturday evening, the 5:30 kickoff this weekend. Villa up and down, and it's kind of been the way for them for quite a while now. They've lost their last 3 Premier League games against West Ham, Arsenal and Wolves. Before that, it was 3 wins in a row against Brighton, Southampton and Leeds. So they're a very, very inconsistent team, but they have a lot of quality in there. Philip Coutinho, of course, has been a revelation there. Ben, we'll start with you on this one. How are you feeling ahead of this clash on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going into every game confident at the moment, but I do have my reservations coming into this one. I mean, yeah, like you said, Aston Villa are on bad form at the moment, 3 losses on the bounce. The one of the games I did watch was the one against Arsenal, which I thought they were poor. Very, very poor. But you just know with the quality that they have that in a one-off game, they can really turn up and play well. Not just Coutinho. I think Ramsey is playing really well this season. You've got Watkins up front as well. Buendia as well. Sometimes he can pull the strings. So they've got some really good attacking talent. They've got some good players all over the pitch, to be fair. Emi Martinez, he can have a game on his day and frustrate us in goal as well. Tyrone Mings. And, they've got real quality all over the pitch. So you can't go into this game and take it lightly. We have to stick to our morals, stick to our guns, go into it in a positive fashion. And we should be winning this game. We really should. But it is a potential banana skin, in my opinion. With the quality they have in the squad at any given moment, they can score a goal. We just need to have our wits about us. In terms of how I think the game's going to pan out, I do think we'll get the win. Hopefully Villa fancy themselves a bit and do come at us a bit at Villa Park and will leave us a bit of space. If they do kind of sit down and frustrate us, it could be one of those days. But I really hope that they have a bit of confidence about them to come at us and leave us a bit of space to go and exploit them.
And I think we'll be lucky that they will do that, because the way Steven Gerrard is playing there, admittedly doing a really good job. We've had of course a few speed bumps in the last couple of weeks, but he's doing a very good job, and he wants to play football the right way, and you have to respect that, but you also have to take advantage of that when you come up against them. And I feel like Tottenham can do that at the weekend. Sim, I think we're in a position at the moment where, as much as we need to talk about what the opposition can do to us, I think we're on good enough form where really the way we're going into this game can decide it. And I think our form, our own starting 11, all that can be enough for us to be confident in something happening in this game. And it's extremely important to us that we pretty much know the 11 that's going to be played, depending on whether or not Sergio Reguilon is fit. It's that set in stone 11. And I did an article last week on the defence and the changes since Conte's came in. And this season we've had 9 different centre-back partnerships or trios, which is the 5th highest in the Premier League. But now for the last 8 games, it has been Christian Romero, Eric Dyer and Ben Davis. And that's when we found our best form in the season. Like I said, 5 wins in 6. So how important is it going into this that we have that structured 11 that not only we know, but the players know as well?
Yeah, it's vitally important. I think that'll be a key difference between coming up against a Villa side which have a lot of attacking talent and can hurt you, or Villa coming up against a better side who's a bit more structured and knows exactly what they're doing and knows all their roles. And even though I don't know, I think they probably joined the clubs at similar times. Tottenham definitely have a better balance to their team than Aston Villa. I think Gerrard is struggling a bit. As much as he's doing a good job, I think he's struggling to strike the right balance between how many attacking players have in his team, how offensive to go, because he's got Ings, he's got Watkins, he's got Coutinho, he's got Buendia, he's got Leon Bailey, he's got Bertrand Traore, he's got some really good attacking talent there. But he hasn't quite found the right balance of how many to play. He's dabbled with Watkins and Ings up front together. He's dabbled with Buendia and Coutinho together with just Watkins. He's dabbled with Bailey on the left and Traore on the right. And some games it works and some games it doesn't. And he hasn't found the balance. Whereas Tottenham, we are very settled right now. We know our best 11. We know exactly how balanced we are as a team. With Villa on the back of 3 straight losses, they're obviously going to probably try and change how they play or change our approach from the last game, seeing as they're 3 in a row, whereas we know exactly what we're doing. We're very settled. So as much as Villa could spring a surprise, because we don't, if they are going to change their approach, we're not obviously 100% sure what that approach is going to be going into it. But as long as we focus on ourselves, that's all you can do. And with the quality we have, if Kane's on the form they're on, and Kulusevski and all the players, to be honest, with the form they're on, we don't have to worry too much, I don't think, about how Villa approach this game. We just got to concentrate on our job. And if we do that, we'll get the win. We just got to make sure that if they do spring surprise, we're ready for it. But we'll be there. And I think Villa, they've got good players, but they're not quite a great team just yet. And we got to exploit that.
Yeah, I really agree with that. David, Arsenal play ahead of Tottenham this weekend, so they play at 3:00 on Saturday at home to Brighton. Then it's, of course, 5:30 this fixture for us. How do you think that'll affect the mentality of the players going into this one? We've seen it a bit in the Premier League in the last couple of years, mainly the Manchester City and Liverpool swapping around. Was the last 8-9 games of the season for any F1 fans, the Leclerc and Verstappen effect. Do you think it'll affect Tottenham in any way if Arsenal go out and win that game, or even if Arsenal go out and lose that game? Or do you think for us it is purely, like Sim said, they're just focusing on ourselves and making sure that we get the job done?
No, look, there's we've got to focus on ourselves. You've got to ignore Arsenal games now. At the end of the day, that loss to Palace and puts top 4 in our favour. So we are in charge of our own destiny. So you've got to forget about what results they get. Look, life will take care of them. There's no way you can manipulate COVID rules the way they did and get away with it. Life will catch up on them. Let life deal with them, and their results, they will dwindle. I actually don't think they will be Brighton. I want to see more famous clips of Ty going, Mopey, you're a cheat. That's what I want to see. That'd be absolutely awesome.
Brighton are winning this weekend.
Yeah, do you know what? I just don't have confidence Arsenal will. I do think Brighton have the potential to turn them over. I really do. I think they're probably sound defensively, and Brighton can make a goal. Look, Arsenal can score goals, but Brighton are decent enough defensively. Look, and just my thoughts on the Aston Villa Spurs game. Look, for me, there's one big question left to be asked, and I've seen this before where we ultimately get given a gift, and it's everything is in our own destiny, and then we kind of let it slide. There's one last question to be answered, and that's, can we still win even though we're in control of our own destiny? Can we still handle that pressure? And if the answer is yes, 100%, we're going to breeze into top 4. It could even get top 3, in my opinion. But look, with this Aston Villa game, we have to remember there's 8 games left this season. Now, they have no hope of even getting Europa Conference League spot. They're like 10, 11 points off even reaching that sort of position. So for me, and I listen to a lot of ex-players and all speak, and usually when there's kind of nothing left to play for, they're already thinking about their holidays. They're already thinking about being in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, wherever it is they're going now. Look, this is going to be a tricky one. Gerrard, He does set up his team well, but I mean, I watched them against Spurs. They were absolutely poor. They were slipping and sliding everywhere. They were woeful. What I will say is, Danny Ings, be careful of him. He loves a goal against Tottenham. Plus, he had a kid last weekend, so I'm sure he'll want to score next weekend to be able to celebrate that. Wet the baby's head with a celebration. But look, Aston Villa, it is going to be a disjointed Aston Villa team, in my opinion, because half of them are already going to be on holidays, but then the other half want to prove to Jared that they want to be here beyond next season. At the end of the day, we just have to do our thing. We've got to keep possession like we did against West Ham, came out with fair possession. Same against Newcastle. And we've just got to control this game. We control the possession. We control the game. We win it, in my opinion. I think we have too much quality up front in Kane, Son and Kulu not to find the back of the net at least once, if not twice. And I think with our defence, look, the only thing I'm still worried about of Aston Villa scoring is from a set piece. Apart from that, I think we have more than enough to be able to keep them out from open play. Set pieces are my biggest worry with Tottenham at the minute. But if we're being realistic, this is a game when you look at it on paper, you want 3 points. You want 3 points. You should be getting the 3 points. And if we want top 4, you've got to take the 3 points. So no excuses. Over to you, Tottenham.
Well, no pressure, lads. I'm really looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be an intriguing one. And really, all I want from this weekend is we saw after the game on Monday, there was one Arsenal fan saying the having the ability to loan players is damaging the integrity of the league, and another saying the pitch was too dry. So that's what all I want from this weekend. Some Arsenal fans having a meltdown, and then Spurs just getting the 3 points, getting the job done, and keeping this one in our destiny. We're going to go around the house and get some very quick score predictions. Ben?
Just before my score prediction, I just want to remind you from earlier on in the season, Everton losing game after game after game. Play Arsenal, beat them, carry on losing game after game after game. So let's hope history repeats itself this weekend with Brighton, with Spurs playing Brighton next week as well. So having said that, my score prediction this weekend is going to be, I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs. 2-0.
I love it. Clean sheet as well to put the cherry on top of the cake. Sim?
I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs. I think we're scoring goals at the moment. They've got attacking talent. They might whip one in from somewhere, but the way we're scoring, we're free scoring at the moment. So I'm going to go with 3-1.
And David?
10-0.
I'm going to go 4. No, I've had to come back down to reality. I'm going to go 4, Ben. Look, I think Big H should be on the score sheet this weekend. I think Sonny will be as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go 4-0 Tottenham.
Not 4-1 for Bob.
I just don't think Villa will score against us this weekend. I really don't.
Look, it wouldn't be a Tottenham Hour podcast if David didn't give an outrageous prediction. But look, like I said, he's been right about top 4 all along, so I'm not going to sit here and say that he's wrong, because he has the sixth sense when it comes to Spurs that we aren't lucky enough to have. But I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory. And to be honest, I don't care if we win 1-0, 2-0, 10-0 or 25-24. It's about getting the points at the moment. We have that goal difference advantage over Arsenal with that 7.
Say that after we win 25-0, Matty.
Look, you never know. When Kane is playing the way Kane is playing, it's possible. But look, we are going to wrap it up there. We've gone just over the hour. We've got some. Thank you everyone for tuning in. There's over 500 people still watching now, including the absolute legend that is Brian Daigle. We have Kyle Patrick Vineyard there with Super Chat says 5-0 Spurs and same players who scored on Sunday. So Davis Doherty and Emerson on the score sheet again. Kyle, if that is right, I'll come to you for the lot of numbers.
1,800 to 1.
That's ridiculous. Look, it probably won't happen again, but look, we can dream. Ben, Sim, David, thanks a million for your conversation, your opinions tonight. Absolutely fantastic as always. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in. 124 likes. We got to get that number up. Like I said, over 500 watching. But from us for now, as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.
And just before we go, guys, everyone go and subscribe to the Irish Hotspur and Matty Hayes as well. Big up, guys. Big up, guys.
I appreciate that.
We'll see you all very soon.
And enjoy the